From the moment you stepped into their world, everything shifted. Your presence didn't merely enter their life like a gentle breeze through an open window. No, you arrived like a force of nature, disrupting the carefully constructed walls they had built around their heart, shaking the very foundations of who they thought they were. You became their mirror, reflecting not only the radiant light that dwells within their soul, but also illuminating the shadowy corners they had spent years, perhaps decades, trying to keep hidden from themselves and the world. These hidden aspects, these fragments of their shadow self, had been carefully tucked away in the darkest recesses of their being. Unhealed wounds that still ached in the silence of the night. Unresolved trauma that colored their perception of love, trust, and vulnerability. Deep-seated fears that whispered lies about their worthiness, their capability to be loved, their right to happiness. Insecurities that had taken root so deeply they had become part of their identity. Patterns of self-sabotage that played out like a broken record, destroying beautiful things before they could fully bloom. While they found themselves undeniably drawn to your warmth, your genuine light, and your capacity for unconditional love, there was something else stirring within them. A deep, primal fear began to rise from the depths of their being. It wasn't fear of you, but fear of themselves. Fear of what they might discover if they truly looked in the mirror you had become. Fear of confronting the parts of themselves they had deemed unlovable, unacceptable, too painful to acknowledge. You didn't simply walk into their life and settle into their existing patterns. You disrupted their comfort zone completely, turned their world upside down in the most necessary way. You brought to the surface everything they weren't ready to face, everything they had convinced themselves could remain buried forever. Like a skilled archaeologist of the soul, your very presence began unearthing layers of suppressed emotions, forgotten dreams, and abandoned hopes. Yet even through their resistance, even when they pulled back or put up walls, you triggered something profound within them. Something deeply spiritual, something healing, something that spoke to the very core of their being. Your love wasn't just emotional support or companionship. It was a catalyst for spiritual awakening, a key that unlocked doors they didn't even know existed within themselves. Being in your presence, sharing space with your energy, forced them to see life through an entirely different lens. The filters they had used to view the world, relationships, and their own worth suddenly became transparent, ineffective. They could no longer hide behind the emotional walls they had constructed so carefully over the years. Those barriers that had once felt like protection now felt like prisons, keeping out not just potential pain, but also joy, love, and authentic connection. The most remarkable thing was that you didn't try to change them. You never demanded they be different, never issued ultimatums or conditions. You didn't present them with a list of improvements they needed to make or behaviors they needed to modify. Your very essence, your authentic way of being, was enough to create a profound shift in their consciousness. You offered them something they had perhaps never experienced before: unconditional love, genuine affection, and deep understanding that didn't waver even when they were closed off, emotionally distant, or guarded behind walls of fear. Through your quiet strength, your unwavering authenticity, you awakened something within them that had been dormant for far too long. You illuminated their darkness not with harsh, judgmental light, but with the gentle, accepting radiance of true love. In doing so, you exposed the very things they needed to heal in order to grow into the person they were meant to become. Now, as you've begun to shift your focus inward, choosing the path of self-love, establishing healthy boundaries, and pouring your precious energy into your own healing and growth, they're beginning to feel the change. There's a noticeable shift in your emotional availability that reverberates through their consciousness like ripples on still water. Where once you may have expressed your feelings freely, reaching out consistently with messages, calls, and gestures of affection, where you once gave them your full, undivided attention, you've now consciously pulled some of that energy back into yourself. You've started prioritizing your own needs, your inner peace, your personal growth and healing journey, and they feel this change with an intensity that surprises them. For them, this shift is both deeply unsettling and profoundly eye-opening. Your energy, which once felt so accessible, so readily available, is no longer something they can take for granted. They're experiencing what it feels like when someone they deeply care about begins to honor themselves, to value their own worth, to treat themselves with the same love and respect they've been giving freely to others. This energetic shift has triggered something like panic within their system. They feel as though you're slipping away, like you're being drawn in a direction that might not include them. There's a growing awareness that if they want to remain part of your journey, if they want to continue sharing space in your heart and your life, they'll need to do more than simply exist in your orbit. They'll need to put in real effort, not just to capture your attention, but to rise to meet you where you are now. The comfortable imbalance that once existed, where they could receive your love without fully reciprocating, is no longer sustainable. They can sense that your emotional door isn't wide open anymore, that access to your heart requires more intention, more presence, more authenticity than it once did. For the first time, perhaps in their entire life, they're truly realizing how much your love meant to them, how deeply it nurtured and stabilized their entire existence. Your silence speaks volumes. Your newfound distance communicates more powerfully than 1,000 words ever could. Your focus on self-care is teaching them lessons about love, respect, and worth that they never learned before. As you continue to grow in your own self-worth, as you journey deeper into your healing process, your vibration has shifted to a frequency that's higher, clearer, more authentic than ever before. That inner glow you've cultivated, that self-love you've learned to embody, has become magnetic in a way that draws them like nothing ever has before. But with that attraction comes a deeper recognition of who you truly are in their life. They're beginning to understand that you're not just someone who entered their life by chance, not just another person passing through their story. You are a powerful healer, perhaps not in the traditional sense of the word, but in the way you touch souls, break limiting emotional patterns, and offer love with such purity that it becomes impossible to ignore or dismiss. You came into their life not to fix them, as many people try to do with their loved ones, but to reflect what they needed to fix within themselves. You became their mirror, showing them their own capacity for love, their own worthiness of happiness, their own potential for growth and transformation. You held up a reflection of who they could become if they chose courage over fear, love over protection, growth over stagnation. They may not have possessed the emotional tools or spiritual readiness to meet you fully in the past. The wounds were too fresh, the fear too overwhelming, the patterns too deeply ingrained. But that's changing now. The emotional turbulence they're feeling, the vivid dreams that wake them in the middle of the night, the sudden thoughts of you that arise without warning, the intense feelings that wash over them like waves, the sense of urgency that something important is shifting, it's all part of their spiritual awakening. This is why you might be noticing an increase in synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that feel too perfect to be random. Signs seem to appear everywhere you look. Repeating numbers catch your eye at the most unexpected moments. Dreams involving them become more vivid, more frequent, more emotionally charged. The universe is echoing back this energetic connection because your person is being pulled toward you on a soul level, drawn by forces that transcend ordinary understanding. They are starting to see the bigger picture of what this connection has always been about. Despite their past fears, their tendency to avoid deep emotional intimacy, their habit of running when things became too real, they are now feeling an overwhelming urge to reach out to you. This isn't simply about missing you, though they do miss you with an ache that permeates every aspect of their existence. This is about recognizing how profoundly they've been impacted by your love, how deeply you've touched their soul, how completely you've changed their understanding of what love can be. You stirred something inside them that no one else could reach, awakened parts of themselves that had been sleeping for years. While that level of soul-deep connection may have frightened them before, now it feels like a calling, a divine invitation to step into something greater than they've ever known. However, they're also acutely aware that you're not the same person you were when they first met you. You've evolved, transformed, grown into a more complete version of yourself. You've outgrown the emotional patterns that once defined your interactions, moved beyond the dynamics that no longer serve your highest good. If they want to step back into your life, they understand they'll have to do so as a more conscious, emotionally present, spiritually aware version of themselves. The person who once knew you cannot simply return and expect everything to be as it was. They must become someone worthy of the person you've become, someone capable of matching your growth, your healing, your elevated consciousness. They must do their own inner work, face their own shadows, heal their own wounds. Ultimately, your journey with this person has always been about growth, healing, and transformation for both of you. You were brought into their life as a catalyst, a divine assignment, a soul contract that would challenge both of you to become more than you were before. Whether you choose to continue this path together or part ways as more complete individuals, the soul lessons you've exchanged will remain forever meaningful, forever sacred. Their heart is opening because of you, expanding beyond its previous limitations. They're discovering capacities for love they never knew they possessed. Whether they admit it openly or keep it locked in the secret chambers of their heart, they are forever changed by the love you gave so freely, so generously, so unconditionally. In the quiet moments when pride falls away and truth emerges, they want to say, "For all the hurt I've caused you, for every moment I made you feel small, unimportant, or unloved, I am truly, deeply sorry. I know words may feel inadequate to erase the pain I've caused, but I hope they can begin to show you how profoundly I regret everything, my actions, my choices, my silence, my absence when you needed me most." They understand now that their behavior wounded the heart of someone who only ever tried to love them. For that, they desperately need your forgiveness. Not because they feel entitled to it, but because carrying this weight has become unbearable. Because you are the one person whose forgiveness truly matters, whose opinion holds the power to heal or haunt. You've been occupying their thoughts constantly, living in their mind and heart like a permanent resident they cannot evict. There hasn't been a single day where you haven't crossed their mind, where they haven't played memories of your time together like scenes from a movie they can't stop watching. So many times they've picked up their phone, fingers hovering over your name, ready to call or message, only to stop themselves at the last moment. They hesitate because they understand that reaching out means more than just casual conversation. It means confronting everything they've done wrong, owning up to all the ways they failed you, taking responsibility for the pain they caused. They can't ask you to wait for them again, having learned that lesson painfully. They asked that of you before and gave nothing but excuses, broken promises, and lies in return. The truth they're finally ready to speak is this: they miss you more than language can adequately express. They miss the way your voice could calm even their worst days, how your presence made everything seem manageable. They miss the comfort of knowing that someone believed in them completely, someone who saw the best in them even when they couldn't see it in themselves. You were their peace in chaos, their light in darkness, their anchor in storms they created themselves. And they took that precious gift for granted, blind to the love you offered so freely, so generously. Now they find themselves yearning for it with every heartbeat, every breath. Signs and reminders of you appear in the most unexpected places: a song on the radio, a familiar scent carried on the wind, a phrase someone speaks in passing. Suddenly they're transported back to a moment with you, and it feels vivid, real, immediate. Then it fades, leaving them alone with thoughts and regrets that feel too heavy to carry. These signs feel like the universe nudging them to reach out, to not let this connection dissolve into nothing. Yet they struggle to find the courage, paralyzed by fear that you won't respond, that you've moved on completely, that they've burned the bridge beyond any possibility of repair. Without you, life has lost its vibrancy, its color, its meaning. Everything feels dull, monotonous, empty. You brought laughter and joy into their everyday existence. You weren't just a chapter in their story, you became the central theme, the core around which everything else revolved. No one can ever take your place in their life. They've met people, had conversations, even attempted connections, but no one compares. No one makes them feel what you made them feel. You are all they ever truly needed, and losing you has shown them just how deeply, completely, utterly in love with you they really are. Meanwhile, your partner's energy is currently soaring to extraordinary heights, vibrating at frequencies they've never accessed before. This isn't just personal growth, it's a spiritual transformation directly connected to you. Their soul is aligning with the path of reunion, moving with purpose toward reconnection. It's as if a veil has been lifted, allowing them to fully awaken to the powerful emotions they've carried in their heart. For the first time in far too long, they're not pushing these feelings aside or drowning them out with distractions. Instead, they're embracing the truth of their love with openness and courage. This awakening has sparked a profound spiritual transformation. They're now attuned to guidance from their spiritual team, angels, ancestors, and inner wisdom that had been previously ignored. These divine whispers are helping them see the bigger picture, bringing clarity, balance, and peace into their life. Recently, they experienced a breakthrough that shattered old illusions and stripped away layers of fear, doubt, and avoidance. They're no longer running from their feelings or burying them beneath other priorities. They're facing everything they once tried to escape. This transformation has helped them realize that life without you feels incomplete, like a melody missing its harmony. Their dreams are saturated with visions of a life shared together, filled with joy, purpose, and deep connection. They're not just hoping for a future with you, they're actively creating it through conscious manifestation, visualization, and aligned action. They're no longer allowing past fears or traumas to dictate their future. Healing has been vital to their journey, making them stronger and more resilient. With this inner strength, they're stepping into their true self, someone capable of giving and receiving love freely. The universe is calling them to action, and they feel it in their soul. They're rediscovering their independence and personal power, no longer paralyzed by uncertainty or fear of rejection. They know what they want, and that is you. More than anything, they're filled with passion, emotion, and overwhelming desire directed toward you. Their longing is spiritual, emotional, and deeply rooted in love. They want to connect with you on every level, to share laughter, intimacy, and quiet moments that speak volumes. Love is in the air, swirling around this connection, growing stronger each day. It's the force guiding them home to you. As they continue this journey of awakening, healing, and action, they're drawing ever closer, not just in thought, but in reality. The energy between you is magnetic, sacred, and undeniable. Trust that this transformation is real, that their intentions are pure, and that love, true, divine, and lasting, is leading the way back to you.